Alright, what is going on, Game Changers? It is GCP here, and it's been a while since I've done a regular commentary, but I decided that I would make one today. And honestly, this was from a couple of days ago when I tweeted out this specific tweet to figure out who the actual community manager for Call of Duty Cold War is, or Treyarch for that matter, is because we just simply don't know. We know the last one for Modern Warfare, Infinity Ward, was Ashton Williams, and everybody knows how effective at her job she really was. But man, do I even need to explain myself? But before we get into the topic at hand here, make sure you guys watch through the entire video so you don't miss any of the details. And if you're new here to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified every single time I upload. And also follow me on Twitter because a lot of what is going to be covered in today's video involves Twitter and my conversation with the community manager of Treyarch, and you guys don't want to miss that. So definitely follow me there. A lot of juicy stuff is happening on Twitter. Obviously, I tweet a lot, so it makes a big difference. So sometimes when I make a video or on YouTube, you might miss what actual conversations I have on Twitter, which are a lot more extensive sometimes. But anyways, make sure you do follow me there. And also I have a Discord as well as a Twitch channel. All those social media links will be in the description below. Alright, I've done enough talking as far as the intro goes. Let's get on into it. Alright, so on November 22nd of 2020 at exactly 6:30 p.m. from my iPhone, I asked a very important question, which I'm sure a lot of people didn't know. That's why I asked it. So it was important for me to ask. I asked, so who's the Treyarch community manager? And do they actually tweet about Call of Duty and not Animal Crossing, unlike Modern Warfare's community manager? And of course, everybody knows that Ashton Williams was the community manager for Modern Warfare or Infinity Ward, and she did a horrible job of actually being a community manager because she didn't communicate. She obviously did not communicate. She didn't really put out information except maybe tweet out retweets from the Call of Duty account or from Infinity Ward's account. She didn't do the job of interacting and being that community resource and manager that people wanted her to be. A community manager's job is to be able to gauge what the community is saying and also address those facts and maybe provide feedback back to the developers so that way they can give a response and she could put out that information to us, the Call of Duty community. Pretty simple and straightforward, you would think. But man, that was asking for way too much. She would block people that did not agree with how the game was turning out. The complaints she would immediately turn away, ignore, and also tweet about other stuff. And she was just horrible all around. You guys know the story. I've talked about her many times before. And overall, she was just a horrible community manager. Honestly, if I had that type of job, I would love to talk to the community, regardless of all types of personalities that I'm dealing with. I would still love to be able to provide feedback from the developers to the community and vice versa. But anyways, I got a response from one of my followers saying that David Vonderhaar is pretty much the guy. Another follower saying it's basically Tony Flame or David Vonderhaar. And then I get a response from Tony Flame, one of the developers from Treyarch, who says that Foxhound FPS is your man. So getting a response from a Treyarch developer is pretty sweet, I'm not even gonna lie. So once he gave me the handle for the community manager, I went and checked him out, and here is his profile. So I thanked Tony Flame for that, and then Josh Torres, who is Foxhound FPS, the community manager himself, responds. He says, I'm definitely going to talk about games and things that I want to talk about on my personal Twitter. If that's ever a problem, unfollow and tune into Treyarch. So right off the bat, you guys could tell that this tweet or response comes off as somewhat defensive in response to what I said earlier about Ashton Williams and how I was talking about her Animal Crossing tweets and also how she doesn't always talk about Call of Duty and all that stuff. So another Twitter user by the name of iDetro here says the problem last year was they only spoke about other games, would ignore acknowledging clear issues, and instead post memes and things that weren't relevant. They didn't actually do their job technically. You would ask politely if they are aware of key bugs, etc., and get blocked. Now look, my man over here is not wrong, because these are all things that we have experienced last year with the community manager and the developers, and we know that the relationship between community and the dev team was just not very solid. It was not on a good, solid ground that it should have been. You know, when you want a steady and great relationship with people, you have to communicate and politely. Now, keep in mind, the community can be pretty hostile, and I will admit that. The community is not always very friendly, but dealing with people, you have to be able to tolerate some of that and respond in a way where they can be somewhat satisfied. But there were also plenty of instances where people were polite in the community and asked legitimate questions and concerns that they had. If we couldn't communicate with the developers who are responsible for changes and updates in the game, then who can we ask? And either we were being ignored or they would answer us in jest. Alright, so now in response to Idetro, Josh Torres says, I am well versed in the community narrative regarding the situation. I can verify that a lot of the ask politely were most definitely not asking politely. Anyone that decides to engage with increasingly unpleasant, loaded questions will also be blocked. And then I also respond with saying, hey Josh, a lot of the community was frustrated with the last group of devs and community manager because it seemed like they wouldn't reply to concerns in the game, but would only reply, retweet, or like those that agreed with their game or posted accomplishments. To which he says, this is a gross simplification of a lot of moving parts and is paired with assumptions, misinformation, and unchecked expectations. As I outlined in another tweet, I'm going to block people that need it. It will be done without remorse and without impact to me doing my job. So instead of giving us the benefit of the doubt, he thinks that all of our responses to the developers and community manager of Infinity Ward were all hostile, we were all threatening, and all of us had loaded questions. And so this is his response to all of that, which all of us know is not true. So it just goes to show you guys that these developers seem to be very thin-skinned and they just won't tolerate any questions at all. This guy is not really addressing these issues, but instead is just blowing them off, just like the previous community manager, and I don't know what to say. Then here comes swooping in my boy Deserve saying, Josh, you're the community manager. Blocking death threats is one thing, blocking criticism is another. Your studio didn't do us a favor by making a $60 incomplete game, facts. Black Ops Cold War needs a lot of work, facts. Great bones, but don't ever say the community's dissatisfaction of the last community manager is ill-founded, oversimplified, etc. Our expectations were not met, we were ignored, and felt scammed by the franchise. Throwing those labels around is highly disrespectful to the people that spend money on the game.
You're goddamn right.
Deserve worded this perfectly, and I could not have explained it any better than him, and he did a wonderful job of outlining the issue that we're having with communication as far as the developers and community managers. What I hope for is a clear and honest dialogue between both the community and the dev team, and I hope we can have a cordial and respectful time doing it. Of course, that's not always going to be the case, but one thing is for certain, that we could definitely open those lines of dialogue and go back and forth and be civil about it as best we can. But in order for that to happen, the dev team and the community manager both need to actually respond when the community has a concern or a question. Simply blowing us off and assuming that we have loaded questions and only here to criticize is not going to work, and we are going to get nowhere. But anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts down below. What do you guys think about this whole situation? Who do you think is right in this situation? Do you think the community is maybe too harsh in the way that we ask these developers and community managers, and that's the reason why they don't want to answer us? Or are the developers and community managers not doing enough of their job? Let me know all of that in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys hit that like button. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit the bell to be notified whenever I upload. With that being said, this is GCP, signing off.
It's so hard to get long shots with them.
It's shotgun time. I'm kind of sucked on this map.
Loyalty to the party, loyalty to the motherland.
Dang, Hog went 16 and 5?
Situation diffused.
Man.
Good stuff, man.
That's as many kills as me with half as much death. That's crazy. I'm telling you, Hog, you keep playing like that. I'm gonna have to give up on you.